Hello, my name is Isaac Bakir, and I am a sophomore here at Arizona State University. Um, I will be talking about how genetic variants predispose drinkers to heart disease. I'll be making a review on the news story, Does Moderate Drinking Protect Your Heart? A genetic study offers a new answer. And the primary literature found within that story, called Association of Habitual Alcohol Intake with the Risk of Cardiovascular Disease. I'm a sophomore majoring in biological sciences, and this is for my general biology 2 class. And the topic I chose was genetic variants, like in specific, them predisposing a drinker to heart disease. And this relates to Mendelian genetics, which we've learned this semester in biology. So the story was written by Gina Colada in March 29th of this year. And the story first goes in and talks about a doctor who gives his patient advice when asked to. And his name is Dr. Stanley Alhazen. He's a cardiologist. And he said that, about a drink a day helps the heart. And he stuck with that answer until he saw the study that was reported on in this paper. Uh, After reading, he came to the conclusion that there's no level of drinking that doesn't confer heart disease risk. Another doctor, Dr. Krishna G. Aragam, was also mentioned in the paper, and he explained that dose matters a lot, and as we head past modest ranges, the risk climbs up like really quickly. A misconception that was cleared up in the paper is that drinking modestly protects the heart. This was because they found that light to moderate drinkers just made better lifestyle choices than the others. So the story goes on to explain that the researchers found genetic variants that predispose a person to heavier or lighter drinking. Uh, the researchers asked if people with a variant that are linked to higher alcohol consumption have more heart disease and high blood pressure than those who have lower alcohol consumption but still have the variant. And the story goes on to explain how the analysis showed an exponential curve of risk with the gene variants, meaning they drink more. Um, and they also explained that the heart disease risk started out slowly but shot up quickly once people got into the higher range of drinking, which was around 21 or more drinks a week. Um, Now moving on to the study. The study was done because previous studies always claimed that there were cardiovascular benefits associated with light alcohol consumption, while recently genetic analyses have suggested a likely link between alcohol consumption and increased risk of or heart disease. And so the objectives of the study were to assess the association of constant alcohol intake with heart disease risk and to evaluate the direction and relative magnitude of heart risk that is associated with different levels of alcohol consumption. The researchers used 371,463 individuals that were not related to each other, but were of European genetic ancestry from the United Kingdom Biobank. Uh, the participants were standardized to a one drink per day increase in consumption while focusing on six cardiovascular disease phenotypes. These phenotypes being hypertension, coronary artery disease, myocardial infarction, stroke, heart failure, and atrial fibrillation. The groups were set up as such. The abstainers were given 0 drinks per week. The light drinkers were given anywhere from 1.8 or 1 to 8.4 drinks per week. The moderate drinkers were given anywhere from 8.5 to 15.4 drinks per week. The heavy drinkers were given anywhere from 15.5 to 24.5 drinks per week. And lastly, the abusive drinkers were given anywhere above 24.5 drinks a week. And so the results came in and showed that 33% of the participants had hypertension and 7.5 had coronary artery disease. The light and moderate drinkers had healthier lifestyle behaviors than abstainers and had better overall health. And the results also showed genetic evidence that supported a strong connection between alcohol consumption and increased risk of hypertension and coronary artery disease. Uh, and the light and moderate drinkers, the 1 drink per day increase was associated with significantly increased odds of hypertension, and with the abusive drinkers, uh, the 1 drink per day increase was associated with even more significant increased odds of hypertension and coronary artery disease. And so, in the discussion, they came to the conclusion that human genetic data suggests associations between alcohol consumption and risk of hypertension and coronary artery disease that increase with even slight alcohol consumption and are exponential in magnitude. They concluded that the reason light drinkers have lower risk than the other groups, even the abstainers, was simply because they made better lifestyle choices, like they would have lower BMIs, work out, smoke less, and just take better care of their bodies. And they close out by saying, once again, that the genetic analyses suggest associations between alcohol consumption and heart disease, but with unequal and exponential increases in risk at higher levels of consumption. And so here was the figure from the primary literature. The local average casual effects were meta-regressed against mean consumption and strata of residual alcohol intake, and the solid lines refer to odd ratio estimates, and the shaded areas denote 95% CIs for the model, and it basically just shows that, as the increase in drinks per week, the risk shot up like crazy for a coronary artery disease, and the conclusion was just that light to moderate drinkers had lower heart risk only because of the outside activities that benefited them, and that drinking lightly doesn't actually help your heart. And that's all I have. Thank you for listening to me, and here are my references.